Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
So what about creativity, AJ?
Oh, yeah.
How can we, like, I know for me, I love to develop products. I love to, I love to create really fun training and creative marketing and stuff like that. And lately, I have to say, I have not had much inspiration to get into product development that much, right? Because I'm like, oh man, I that's a big process, and that would mean that I have to be able to source it, and I can't even go to China right now. Like, so how can I inspire some creativity?
Yeah. I feel like this word accessible is just my word of the day. I think we put shoulds on our creativity. I should feel creative with product development. Well, you don't. I should feel more creative about taking a mermaiding online, but I don't. So better question, or one to be curious about, and one that I'm trying to remind myself to, what are you curious about right now? Like what is creativity nudging on your door? Maybe it's having a dance party in your kitchen. For me, it's Viking war music or Disney or Todrick Hall, usually one of the three. Or like going for a run, or like sitting out and looking at the sunset. We have a hammock in our backyard. So creativity lately for me has been listening to calm music in my hammock at night and just looking at the stars, or like doodling in my pages. So I think usually we look at creativity as this thing that needs to serve us, right? Like, and trust me, like this is what I built my business on. And this is something I'm currently kind of learning too, is like, we can't make creativity serve us at the altar of our business, but more of listening to where creativity is nudging us, regardless or not whether it has anything to do with our business. Because if we're pressing on ourselves to perform and show up with creativity, then we're kind of like squishing that too, instead of being like open to possibilities. Does that make sense? And yeah, I feel you on the product development, because there's so many cool ideas, right? But then that's also so many things to follow through on. So I think, what are small ways I would like to be creative? Maybe you can set a timer for 10 minutes and pick up the guitar that you haven't in a bit. Maybe you can put sprinkles on your toast. Maybe you can dress up. I have gold like face paint, and as ridiculous as this sounds, my creativity lately has been like asking myself, and I encourage you to ask this question in the morning when you're getting ready. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask, what would bring me joy today to wear? And last week, my answer was gold filigree on my face. And so I wasn't going anywhere. We were just doing work at home by myself, but I painted like some little gold leaves and whatnot, and I wore my Viking dress, and I just did my work. So like, you might have things in your closet that you haven't worn in forever, but wearing a prom gown or just some like ridiculous fun things. So I think a good question to ask is, what am I curious about, or what would be a little fun? And giving yourself permission to feel into that and do it. Just being a little silly. Because right now the pressure for me to paint, it's not like, I don't want to pick up a canvas right now. Like, even though that's my job right now, I'm just like, no, that feels like too much. But dressing up a little, that's doable. So yeah, that was a long answer to the question, but
No, it was perfect. That it really, it inspires me to hear that. And so I know it's going to inspire our listeners to think of the last thing that they did that was just fun. And, every time I go on vacation, that's why I love going on vacation, because I have the best, most creative thoughts when I'm able to just let loose and I get out of the office. And I get out of the, of the house and so, right now when I'm in the house, I always have the most creative thoughts in the shower. And I think it's because there's no distractions, right? I'm just in the shower, doing my hair, washing my hair, doing my things, right? And I always come out of the shower with a creative, fun, awesome thought. And I'm thinking, man, I need to shower more often, I guess. Yeah. 2 times a day minimum, right? But yeah, I love what you said about just, you don't have to, if working on product development is not making you feel creative right now, why does it have to be the definition of creative?
Oh, yes.
Fill
in the gap with anything.
Yeah, and how many times have I come up with cool ideas when I have just been in the shower, or I have been at the beach, or I've just been on a walk.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's so inspiring for people.
Ooh, can I say some ideas around this too? Like, okay, you said you get your ideas in the shower. For me, it goes on like walks or when I'm sitting out in the hammock. So two forms of this. Usually we're driving around a lot more. We're outside a lot more. A lot of us are in our house. If possible, get outside, go for some walks, wear your mask, whatnot, but getting some vitamin D and like fresh air, like moving your bodies. Like our theater teacher would always tell us, if you're stuck, if you're writing, you're just like, I don't know, like don't stay in your same room. You need to move and like get around. Like art comes from life. So going for a walk, looking at flowers, whatnot, sitting outside, taking showers, giving yourself that grace space to breathe is super helpful. But also, if you're not sure, if you're like, I don't even know what I'm curious about, make a list of the 10 things that make you smile. What are 10 things that make you smile or have made you smile in the past? If you're like, nothing makes me smile lately, like the world is falling apart. That's totally fair, Bob. So 10 things that have made you smile in the past. And then if, one of them's like vacationing Hawaii, right? Like we can't go to Hawaii right now, but maybe you could lay out in your backyard for 10 minutes and like put some Mio in your water or make a vodka and Mio. Like maybe there's some way that you can kind of tap into that energy that you feel there. So it's like, even though I can't have this big thing, I can have this small thing that kind of feels like that. Or we can spritz some like air freshener, or light a nice candle. If like usually you go skiing in the mountains, maybe you can have a night where you kind of watch a ski movie and you curl up in blankets and you make hot chocolate with your family. So there's things that might feel really big. The goal of today, make it small. Like,
yeah, I love that. I love just being able to create joy and just positivity around you when you can't go to where you want to go, where you want to have that moment. You can create the moment around you at the time.
Yeah.
So any other advice for us business owners right now who are feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so unmotivated, I don't know what I should be doing, just to kind of daily routines to keep us on track and keep us motivated?
Yeah. Something we implemented into our house 5 days ago, because I had a really bad Saturday. My really bad Saturday is probably not as bad as other people's Saturdays, but Brene Brown talks about comparative suffering is not a cool thing. It doesn't help anyone, right? Shame, guilt, not fun. But I just finished reading Glennon Doyle's Untamed book. And I can send Amy all these books that I'm mentioning, because The Artist Way by Julia Cameron is a game changer, and Untamed by Glennon Doyle, anything Brene Brown's ever touched, obviously. But Glennon Doyle's talking about this island, and her island is her family. And they decide what's in or out, like what's on their island. And it's love, and it's kindness, and it's understanding, and it's asking for help. And not on their island is fear and anger, like just and resentment. Like these things are not allowed on their island. And so after Saturday, I just felt so overwhelmed with the news, and I just kind of shut down. I was like, this is too much. I can't take it. Like I was so stressed. And then I had a really good chat with my aunt. So call your friends, call your family, and ask like, hey, do you have the spoons that you could hold space for me for a moment? I just need to vent. I need help sorting. That's what I call it. When I'm really stressed with something and I can't see my way through it and everything feels so tangly, call a friend and be like, do you have the spoons that you could help me sort this out, that you can kind of word vomit? And they're like, here's a thread I see, here's something else. That is always super helpful to me. But sit down with your family, and for yourself too. I'd encourage you to make an island list for yourself and then bring it to your spouse. What is allowed on your island? For me right now, I'm not taking suggestions about how I should handle Corona. All those things that are online about like, hey, your business should look like this, or you need to be doing this, or this is a perfect time. I'm just like, no. Or people who give me suggestions on my faith right now. I cannot. I'm closed. My suggestion box, it's not open. It's not open. And I'm not doing the news right now. I'm just going to the CDC website. I'm staying mostly off Facebook, just on communication. So like, these are all things that are not on my island. I'm not doing fear. I'm not doing guilt. I'm not doing shame. And sometimes they creep in and I'm like, hello, that's how I'm feeling. How can we process this? Please get off the island. Jared, we had a conversation. He's like, not on my island is getting into Facebook arguments because it's not helpful. on my island, just showing up in my business 3 things a day. What are 3 things a day that I can one step at a time? So it might feel like not a part of your business, but and I talked about this at the Inspire conference, is like, you are a tree, right? And like, you are the trunk of it, and your business is a branch. Worst case scenario, the honest God statement here is that some of us will lose our businesses in Corona. Some of us already have. But if your branch falls, you still need your tree trunk to be here. So friend, don't, especially not during Corona, don't chop yourself down in service of your business. Do what you can, but stay alive, stay safe, and stay kind. Like, the biggest thing you need in your business right now is, I think, compassion for yourself, for your workers. If you are employing people right now, there's so much stress all around because they rely on that income. So even if you have to like cut hours, or like you're furloughing people, do it with as much kindness and compassion and grace as you can. And y'all, use doubly on yourself, because empathy and compassion, it's not a limited resource. It's not like toilet paper, right? It's not scarce. And so in your business right now, like, do not beat yourself up for your business. Do what you can, show up where you can, figure out what's on your island, and lead with grace and compassion. That's my last tip.
I love that. I love it. So AJ, it has been so great having you on the show today.
Thank you.
And you always inspire us. You always help us to kind of put things in perspective, and you give us permission to be who we are. And we all appreciate you so much for that. And I would love to tell people how they can get in touch with you, and how they can, especially our lady listeners, if they would like to attend one of AJ's online red tents. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah. You can find me at Enjoy Productions or Mermaid Harmony, both on Facebook and Instagram. I have a Facebook group called Embodied in Joy that I post sometimes meditations or like things to think about or little live videos. And then for Amy's and Andy's listeners, if you want to it's no strings attached. And I know what they always say, but it's actually no strings attached. Free cultivating, conversations of your soul and joy with you. So I have a Calendly page that I can send Amy, or feel free to just message me. But if you just need help sorting, I'm here for you. I open hands, like, this is how I can serve. So feel free to reach out, and it would be my pleasure to help you sort and find a couple threads that you can start following.
Love that. All right, everyone. So Enjoy Productions on Facebook, or the Facebook group Embodied in Joy. And we'll put those links and also all of the wonderful books that AJ mentioned in the show notes for today. And thank you, everyone. We hope that this has given you some, amazing ability to just survive right now.
Yeah.
Do it with a little bit of joy, and survive, and be who you need to be, and be present with your family and friends right now, and build up that support system if you need it.
Sure.
And I think we all do, right? So thank you so much, AJ, for being here. For all of our listeners, thank you so much for being here and for supporting us. Please don't forget to rate and review us. We really appreciate the likes, the clicks, and the feedback. And we will see you all next week on the Seller Roundtable. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at sellerroundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, sellerseo.com and amazingathome.com.